Graham Allen, he just did a full diatribe on Candace Owens, and he exposed a lot of the things that have been happening behind the scene that a lot of people aren't exactly aware of. He did a full podcast yesterday and brought up a lot of things that have been happening in the back end, because Candace Owens called him out and directly just said that he was a pedophile, or implicitly insinuated it, saying, keep your kids away from Graham Allen, just smearing his name for no reason at all. For the mere fact that Graham Allen has been just standing up for Erika Kirk, because he's calling on a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there, and I myself have said this as well. Anybody with a microphone should be calling Candace Owens out right now. What she is doing against Erika Kirk, for that mere fact alone, her being a widow, that we should stand up for a widow. And I don't want to be a person that just sits back and just allows this to happen and just maybe just tweet about it, post a couple things. But myself, I've been through the beginning. I've heard Candace out. Whenever this whole thing happened with Charlie Kirk, I really wasn't watching Candace Owens at all. Probably about a month after that Charlie Kirk died, I started hearing what she was talking about. She was investigating. And I just thought, I started hearing clips from the things that she was saying. And I was really, in my heart of hearts, just thinking, after I would hear something from Candace, I'd be like, she's got to be either incredibly right and spot on with what she is saying, or what she is doing sounds incredibly evil. A lot, the things that she was bringing up, and of course she would bring up one thing on top of the other, but she keeps you engaged the whole time. She's good at that. I got to give her props for that. But from the beginning, I felt like that. It's like, you got to be either incredibly right or incredibly wrong. We're going to take a look at a couple different clips. Graham Allen says what was happening in the past decade that a lot of people don't know about.
And here's the truth that no one has ever wanted to say for the entirety of the past decade. And that is, Candace Owens this is the biggest kept secret inside the conservative movement. Candace Owens has been the biggest thorn in the side, diva, absolute nightmare wrecking ball to the entire conservative movement behind the scenes for the past decade.
He's a friend of Candace Owens, I guess maybe formerly friend, but they knew each other for the longest time. When Charlie Kirk and Candace were doing things together, Graham was there as well. So he's got the credibility. He has that. He knows what he saw it firsthand. He knows when Candace would go off to the side, he knows what people were talking about and saying about her.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Anyone who's not on record in front of a camera, they'll tell you the truth. Every single person that has ever worked with Candace Owens that's not still being paid by Candace Owens or has an NDA with Candace Owens, they can't stand her. She's horrible. Treats people.
Okay. I don't know Candace Owens personally, but I think we all just watching somebody, I know there's the difference between somebody being on screen as opposed to being in person with somebody. There's obviously a difference. So you don't know when somebody gets on camera, what they're going to say, how they're going to act, what they got to push forward, because they got to get attention. They got to say crazy things a lot of the times. I think you can go too far. And I think this is where Candace has gone too far. And I really believe that Graham is in love saying this. He's standing up for Erika, because the last time I did a show, it was that Candace Owens, like, point blank was bringing up the Jews, Israel's behind it, but within the last week, she has point blank put her crosshairs on Erika Kirk. And there's so many people that listen to Candace Owens that follow her vehemently that it's hard. We're not going to persuade anyone. Some people are just along for the ride, but then there are those that just, no matter what you say, you're not going to change their mind, and they're already dug in. And you think that if you're attacking her or just calling things out, you're attacking them. And I don't think that's the case. But this is where it gets interesting. Her relationship with Charlie, this is what Graham has to say, that Charlie actually feared Candace.
Charlie at some point saw what was behind Candace Owens' eyes, and all he wanted to do was figure out a way to appease her enough to not have her turn against Turning Point, because you're seeing what happens when Candace Owens decides she wants to destroy something, somebody, someone, some movement, whatever it may be. Charlie lived in fear of Candace. Not because he didn't believe that he could defeat her, but we had elections to win, and it looked best to look as a united front in front of the world so we could win these elections, and he knew of what she was capable of doing if he did not. That's the truth. That is the truth, among everything.
Now, what do you actually believe? Because we can think about these things. We can reflect on these things. What actually was going on? I honestly believe that Charlie, because he probably did fear Candace. I don't think this is a misrepresentation or a miswitness of what Graham is saying. You know, I mean, in the sense that, I mean, you could say, like, even right now, Tucker Carlson or anybody, you know, we love Candace Owens. We love her. She's awesome. Which, I mean, as a Christian, we love her. Yes. But you understand that somebody that has the potential of going nuclear and destroying someone, burning something down, the capability of this woman is incredible. Her reach, and she's built it like over time. And I think a lot of people have tuned in after the Charlie Kirk assassination. I'm certainly glued in. And a lot of people are checking out big name podcasters out. I don't see Tim Pool calling it much more. He's not talking about Candace right now. I haven't seen him say anything. Alex Jones has kind of backed off a little bit, and few people. Tucker Carlson was recently asked, and he is starting to distance himself quietly, and not just calling her out by name, but saying, "I love Erika Kirk, and we should leave these investigations to the law enforcement, to federal agencies. That's their job." I mean, this is like Dateline, you know, CAS. You want to get to the bottom of it. It's very interesting. But when you're really calling somebody out, and her saying about Erika Kirk, and she's right now, this week right now, she's doing a full hardcore investigation that she's going to be analyzing everything about her life and bringing it all to light. What she's going to find, and all I know is she's throwing like mud everywhere. She's throwing mud everywhere. And I want to be a person that at least calls this out and says, "Candace, what you're doing, you're taking it too far. And you're smearing people's names. You're smearing people's names by just quickly just saying that, you know, they had an arranged marriage. Charlie Kirk was on the Truman Show. And then bringing things up to light that she was grooming younger age girls, that Erika Kirk was doing something like that. Everybody's got things in their past that, if you brought up something, you're always going to be able to find something, and everybody can find something even on you. Nobody is clear cut and perfect. Nobody is beyond the pale. Everybody has skeletons. Everybody does. Unless you're Jesus, you do. Everybody does. And I think that what people have done with Candace, they've kind of just let's just let her do her thing. We don't want her to turn her attention on us. And I like what Graham did. He's got a microphone. He's got a pretty good sized microphone. I didn't really know about him at all until this past weekend. I saw him tweeting about these things and posting these things, and then Candace calling him out. But the biggest names out there are still remaining silent. And this is the time to stand up. And I think Graham is sparking something that people need to get on board with. People need to start. She can maybe just pick off one of us at a time. But if there's a whole wave, a whole army coming to standing up for the widow, standing in front of Erika Kirk in this time, because what you're just bringing to light, you're just smearing her name. You're just dragging it through the mud. And it's like, really, what if you're completely wrong? This is like almost the difference between heaven and hell to me, because it's like, what if you're wrong? Like, what if you're wrong about the Jesus thing? If Christians are wrong and Jesus isn't the Messiah and all that's fantasy or whatever, we die, we go, and nothing happens after we die. But if what we're doing is wrong and we're like misguided on that could be of eternal consequence. And I'm not saying what she does. There's nothing in this life that we're going to do that is going to take us away from God's love or His reach. But it's like, it feels like if there is some type of demonic suppression or demonic activity that is happening with Candace Owens, that is driving her and pushing her. And we all have that. We have to resist it daily. Otherwise, we're going to succumb to it. Because we always have things in the back of our mind. We don't see these demons everywhere. We don't see physical manifestations, but we do feel like things just go through or scroll across our mind. I know with myself, things scroll across my mind, remind me of things, just want me to hate someone, remind me of a grudge, or just try to just stir up a grudge in my heart against someone. And it's like, if you don't actively resist it, you're going to go down evil paths. And I think Candace is, what she's doing with Eric, I think it's too far. It's too far. And I think that anybody that has a voice, has a microphone, or just anybody in regular life, if you're not calling it out and just kind of like changing the narrative, because what I have found, it is the people that are most on board with this, that are buying into it, to be honest, and this might sound awful, but it's women and it's gay men. The people that are buying into this, actually buying it, not just paying lip service to Candace and trying to keep her crosshairs off you, but it's women buy into it easily. They're not thinking clearly as maybe as a man would. I'm not saying that men think clearly all the time, but there are tendencies and abilities that men have that God has endowed us with as opposed to women. And it seems like gay men, there's a lot of gay men that are jumping on the Candace train and just riding it. Because it's like, you go, girl. And I know I made that video and I said that when I was like, go, you girl. And I maybe I shouldn't have done that. But we all have, we all have things that draw us to, we have to resist even the temptation of gayness, I guess. And I think that people, if we don't call this out, and that's just my honest reaction, that's what I'm seeing out there. The girls love this. Girls love the juicy stuff. They love what did Erika say? I can't believe that. What did Candace say about Erika? And as opposed to logically stepping back and thinking, is what she doing right in God's eyes? I mean, we have actual biblical verses that say, stand up, defend the widow and orphan. And it's like Erika Kirk just got in front of the whole national audience, became a widow in front of us. And it's like, that is the easiest one, maybe not the easiest one, but the clearest example of to jump in front of and shield. And I think we need to kind of stir up an army of calling Candace out. You're going too far, not just to get attention, but to just try to change this, because you're taking it too far, Candace. All right, that's where I'm at on this. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. If you think I'm way off, I would love to hear it. I really would. And I think a lot of times, if I'm being honest, I don't really read through the comments that much. I don't read through the comments that much because they just, and people don't post the nicest things in comments. But I mean, I get it. And I want you to tell me what you think, but there's not really a good job there, or at least maybe I haven't reached that level of people encouraging. A lot of times in the comments, it's just a sewer to me. But still, drop your comments. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear it. If it's above the fold, I usually see it. If it's above the fold, if it's down below, I'm not digging down deep in there, All right. We'll leave it at that. Follow me on X and Instagram @BrandonFogel, and have a great rest of your day.